What's going on, everyone? ODC here, and I'm back with another action figure review. Today's review, we're actually going to do a couple reviews. This is all pretty much, I think, technically, quote-unquote, one wave. But we're going to be discussing the Crimson Twins, Tomax and Xamot, and also Stalker. Stalker was actually a release that was high on my list as far as characters that I really wanted. And I'm happy to have him here finally. The Crimson Twins, they've always been kind of like a personal favorite as far as on the Cobra side. I want to say they're probably in the top tier, top 5 as far as Cobra characters that I actually really enjoy. A, being unique as far as their characters go, and B, being unique as far as their look goes as well, and their role in Cobra. So this wave was kind of a huge coup for me as far as getting it a little bit earlier. Yeah, pretty pleased with the overall aesthetic of the packaging and everything like that. We're going to go through all of that, but I just kind of wanted to give a little bit of a segment here. Obviously you can see I've fashioned Stalker with a Gridiron Studios rifle. Just wasn't feeling the vintage looking submachine gun that he's been given constantly throughout his releases throughout the years. I don't know. Personally, I like to think that he's stepped up his game and he's not stuck in the Cold War anymore. It's the classifieds line, and I get like, it's weird because they like pick and choose who they want to update. The Crimson Twins, I mean, I don't mind their vintage design because it's always been kind of unique, little bit kind of out there, futuristic looking, sci-fi-esque. That's what Cobra is to me. Might not be to everybody else. I know a lot of people like to dumb Cobra down and give them realistic looking weapons and stuff like that, but I personally like to give them sci-fi-esque looking weapons. That's what to me signifies Mars Industries as being ahead of the game, ahead of the Joes as far as equipment, but not as far as skills. The Joes always outskill Cobra, and that's the kicker. That's the ace of spades. That's whatever you want to call it, you know. That's the final say as far as the comparison. You can have all the equipment in the world, but if you can't be efficient, and if you can't be as skilled tactically, you're gonna lose still. It doesn't matter. You have the best stuff in the world. If you don't know how to use it and use it to your advantage, then you're going to lose. When it comes, like I said, in my last little piece on the whole vintage thing, you know, I've been pounding the table for Pursuit of Cobra-esque looks. The figures themselves, they look great. Obviously, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to set Stalker aside because Stalker was, I don't know, I can't say that one is really a bigger selling point than the others, because, I mean, they all look really good. And to have the twins, whoa, I'm dropping him. To have the twins in this set, as far as not being in a 2-pack, which is what I was actually guessing they were going to do. I was like, oh, they're going to do the Crimson Twins in a 2-pack, because they already are doing, I shouldn't say did, because they haven't been released yet. They're already doing a Viper set, and they're doing more sets, like the Ninja set, and I was like, well, it just makes sense for them to do a 2-pack with these guys. But they didn't. They did separate releases, which kind of baffled me a little bit, but I'm not really complaining because the 2-pack probably would have been like $60, and that would have been $10 over the retail. So $25 a piece is fine for me. I think that's what they're worth, personally. But to look at them, they look fantastic. I'm really happy with them. The packaging, if you're interested in the packaging, Xamot is right here, and you have Tomax over here. Xamot is the one with the scar on his left cheek. So that's pretty cool. On the packaging, it actually shows them, and I will get to that right now. It actually shows them in their suits. And then on the front of the package, let me just set them aside really quick just to point this out. You can put their packaging together, and it does show them with their packaging just like that, as far as that's concerned. So you can get that whole look if you want to have them with the packaging, or whatever you want to do display-wise. But it does have them in the suits, which I'm assuming they're probably going to do another set with the suits, maybe some briefcases. I don't know. They're running the accounting for Cobra, so that's what we're going to go with. But on the front, they have Tomax and Xamot in their Cobra, I'll just call it Cobra armor. Tomax is number 44, Xamot is number 45 in the wave. It's got the card artwork, which is, I gotta say, much better than Stalker's card artwork. This mural on the back is ever growing. We've got a bunch of Night Ravens over here, Rattlers, Sky Strikers, blah, blah, blah. Conquests right there. We've got a Firefly right there, or not Firefly. Dragonfly, good lord, I can't think or talk today. A whole bunch of people, so not going to go too much else on the packaging for that. The figures themselves, I think, look really nice. I think that the only thing I would have liked to improve on these guys is the armor, maybe looking a little bit more of like a gunmetal shine to that, wherever that you see like a silver or gray or whatever you want to call it. I feel like they could have used a little bit of like some sort of shine to it, showing off that it is like a nice armor look. I guess I could always go back and paint them, but then again, do I even need to invest the time or the effort into doing all of that? I think they look good enough the way they are. They both come with the same, I want to say HK or MP5 that the Baroness did, the movie Baroness. So, and just to kind of compare the two, let me first bring her in, because this is actually a really underrated good figure. I know a lot of people give her crap for her neck being long, but there's tons of like women that are built like this, that are like kind of like models that have long necks. I have news for you guys. I don't know why everybody in the action figure realm thinks that everyone has the exact same body, or has the most atypical body ever in the history of action figures or human beings. But human beings are all built different. Like, some are tall, some have longer legs, some have shorter torsos, some have long torsos and shorter legs. Some have big heads, some have small heads, some have medium-sized heads, some have peanut heads, some have egg-shaped heads, some have, you know, everybody comes in different sizes and shapes, and for you guys to like constantly nitpick the stupidest thing to say a figure sucks is absolutely ridiculous. But anyway, talking about this here, that's why I kind of never really bring up proportions too much, because all human beings have different proportions. You know, I have friends that have small bodies and big heads, you know, and they're, you know, 6 foot, you know. That's just the way it is. Some have T-Rex arms. Some have small hands and long arms. You know, people are not proportioned. Nobody is proportionate. So, anyway, that's my little spiel on that. Anyway, same gun, blah, blah, blah. You know, removable mag and everything like that. And then we've got the removable silencer. So if you want to take that off, you can. But that's pretty much it as far as that goes. I'd like to get some sort of like maybe like a futuristic type gun that they used to always come with the twins. They always came with that kind of like typical like Cobra-esque looking submachine gun. Almost looks like a friggin' laser rifle version of like a submachine gun. But that'd be cool to get just for the more futuristic sci-fi look. But they look really good, man. I'm really pleased with the sculpt of their shoulder armor, their half shoulder armor. Really pleased with both the face sculpts. Face sculpts look really good. Very pleased with that as well. They are the opposite of each other, but still the same. Sorry, I wish I had another voice to say that exactly at the same time as me. But They are asymmetrical, so there are things that are on one that are on the opposite side of the other, and obviously their armor is asymmetrical as well, one being on one side, not the other. Cobra symbol is printed on and looks crisp and clean, like it should. A lot of sculpting for the cod piece, and the belt looks very nice. We've got holsters on the opposite sides of each other for the knife sheath and the knives. We'll get to the knives and the accessories in a little bit. On the back looks good, crisp and clean. Nothing too crazy here as far as major details going on, other than, like I said, the shoulder piece with the sash and everything. The gloved hands have kind of like a wrap on each glove, except for the gauntlet looking or wristband or whatever you want to call that situation. I like the open mouth for the snake on their crotch or cod piece, whatever you want to call it. The two cobra heads on each thigh, and then it kind of works right into the design of the boot. Looks really good. We've got some red for the bottom of the shoes, 2 peg holes at the bottom of the feet as well. And we also have another dagger sheath for the boots, which I never like dagger sheaths on boots. I feel like it's not a place that you really want to carry anything. It's weird running with something attached to your leg, flopping around and giving you the business, you know. But the knives are exactly the same as far as their design goes. There is the knife itself, the kniff. Really good, nice, kind of shiny silver to it. And it is painted on, so that's nice. Nothing to complain about there. Let's pop that back in there. And same thing goes for the boot. And it's exactly the same on the other, his brother. Removable magazine, removable silencer, like I just said with Baroness, so same thing there. They can hold their silenced weapon or submachine gun nicely. The other hand kind of has this like knife. Like these actually are pretty decent knife hands, but he can hold his camo. Gotta separate the hands a little bit more than I thought I had to. There we go. But he holds it, both hold it very well on either hand, so you can do that. That's a thing. The kniff can fit, let's see if we can get it to fit in between the fingers. So this is a little bit more awkward, and I don't know if anybody would actually hold a knife like this with the blade on their fingers. So let's kind of twist it. Maybe we can get it like this. Now that looks awkward. I'm just gonna be honest. That looks just awkward. But you can kind of hold it in his hand, and it's a little bit loose. But you can also angle it forward, like he's like, "Olay!" I'm just kidding. So that is something to talk about. Let's give him something to talk about. Talk about Sorry, I couldn't help myself there. I don't even know where that came from. It came from the 90s is what that came from. I feel like that song was in every 90s movie. And even late 80s movie. But it can go in the sheath. He doesn't really hold the daggers, I guess, all that too well in his hands. Let me try the other hand really quick. We'll grab the boot one this time. Might have just been because I stretched out the hand from him holding his submachine gun. It does hold a little bit better in the other non-outstretched finger hand. So that's something to point out. Like I said, you can still get him to hold it like this if you want him to, really. Personally, I'm just not going to do that. I might have it set up wrong. I might have to spend more time working with that. But don't judge me for it. Okay, so his articulation goes as follow. You'll have to have me apologize. I was working with orange paint earlier, so I still have it on my fingertips. That's why. We've got the swivel at the head. Head looks back, kind of on a ball peg, double ball peg. Head can look down, kind of a weird like pop for some reason. I don't know why they just popped like that, but there you go. Head can also tilt side to side. And he can do some jive turkeys. Oh, so there's that. Arms can go up about that far, down, full 360 rotation in the arm, and this is like a pliable plastic here, so you don't have to worry about that snapping or anything. He does have a butterfly joint. It's very hindered, like all the classifieds are, but it is technically there. Upper thigh, bicep swivel, a double jointed elbow, which is extremely tight on mine, which I don't mind. But it is there. You can get to about there, a little bit past 90 degrees. Swivel at the wrist. He does have a vertical hinge joint on this side, and I believe a vertical hinge joint on that side. So no lateral hinge joints, verticals only here. So that's nice. He does have an ab crunch, which crunches back and goes forward and can swivel back and forth. He can kind of crunch with that ab swivel as well because there's a ball joint. He can do the splits about that far. He does have drop-down thighs. I've said my piece on drop-down thighs with Hasbro figures. I just don't trust them over time, but that's just my opinion. He can swivel at the thigh. He does have a double-jointed knee, and that's about maxed out right there. He has a pointy toey, pointy heely, and he does have an ankle pivot, and he does have a boot swivel. And that's pretty much it for articulation. Now, setting Xamot aside, we'll bring Tomax back in here. And like I said, as far as the head sculpts go, they are different as far as the head sculpt does go. They have very similar expressions to them, but they are different. Like I said, he's got a sculpted scar on his left cheek as far as Xamot goes, and Tomax does not. He is all crisp and clean. They also have opposite hairstyles of each other, but similar. So, pretty cool. I've always liked the kind of, I guess, duality of the two. And they're a welcomed addition to my collection. So, pretty pleased with that overall, even with the more realistic looking submachine gun, which isn't a deal breaker by any means, and it shouldn't be for anybody out there. That's pretty much it for the twins, and moving on to Stalker. Okay, as far as Stalker's packaging goes, before we get to the actual figure, like I said, not a big fan of this artwork in the front or on the side. You'll see what I'm talking about in a second. It says Sergeant Stalker. He is number 46. And on the side, I just, like, this face looks horrendous. Like, to each your own, if you like it. To me, I'm not a fan of that at all. But they've got Stalker here. I'm not a fan of this type of style either. I feel like they should have called my buddy Strident and had him do Stalker, because he would have done him some justice here. Anyway, moving on to the back, same mural, blah, 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 blah. All this silly barcode crap needs to go in the garbage, and they just need to put file cards in the boxes, especially if we're getting less plastic now, which costs them less money. And they're cutting down more trees to save on plastic, which makes no sense and is absolutely redundant and stupid on Hasbro's part to make an excuse like we're saving the environment. That's just my opinion. Take it, leave it, do whatever you want with it. Don't care. Put the file cards in with the figures. G.I. Joe has been coming with file cards since its inception. Even with re-releases, it doesn't matter. I'm sure they can afford to put file cards in there instead of having us do our own homework and look up stuff online that is meaningless. Okay, and we're back with Stalker, and this is all of his accessories kind of spread out here. I thought I'd do it like this just to kind of break down it as far as exactly how much plastic is actually being used for Stalker, which is actually quite a bit. I gotta say, when you break it down piece by piece, what he's getting, I think he is pretty well equipped. Only thing I wish, like I said, is that they got rid of this. Like, we just keep getting this with every Stalker figure. I'm just over it. So that'll go in the bin somewhere and be forgotten. But if you want to keep them all retroed out and stuff like that, by all means, it's your toy. You can do whatever you want with it. The magazine that he comes with is removable, and it just pops right into place like that. That's how it's supposed to be placed in, just like so. So there you go, and it's got a nice sculpt to it, stuff like that. You can hold it in his hand if you want him to, just like so, and he can hold it, and he looks very outdated as far as the weapon goes, but that's just me. Probably. I'm sure the majority of people are just like gushing over him having this, but not me. If you want to have him store everything, you can pop the mag into the mag side pouch on his rifle sheath or holster, and then pop the submachine gun in the back, and then it's got a peg on the backpack portion, peg hole in the back, and you just slide it right in, slide it through. It is a much better peg hole than Duke or Beachhead or most of the other characters that their backpacks would fall off constantly. It got to the point with Duke and Beachhead that I almost glued the backpack to the back, but don't have a problem here with Stalker. What I kind of do have an issue with is this. If you're going to sculpt, go through the rigmarole of sculpting a knife on the vest, make sure that that is removable, Hasbro. This is, I think, ridiculousness. I don't know. I've never been a fan of holster guns being sculpted into the holster, period, with any toy company. It's not just Hasbro. Other companies have done it too. I think even McFarlane has done it once or twice. But just never a fan of any toy company doing that. It kind of takes away from your options and stuff. You should always have that option to be able to remove a weapon if it's a part of the design. If you were able to remove the weapon from a 3 3/4 inch figure, you should be able to remove the weapon from a 6-inch figure. I get he already comes with a knife, but you could have put another one on there. If that's a part of the design, then do it. Just saying, don't half-ass stuff. The grenades, that's something I can live with. It's not the end of the world as far as that being a part of the sculpt. I don't really care about that, but a knife, something that can be used or thrown or something, included as separate. Next piece I'll talk about is his Samag or whatever it's called. I don't know. Sorry I got the name wrong. I'm sure I get tons of other stuff. I can't be perfect all the time, and I'm not perfect. I'm very far from that. So, but here we have this. I think it's a little bit too big. I think I like the way Valiverse had things set up with Desert Rat with the scarf, I'll just call it. I think it looked a little bit more, I don't know, less big and bulky, but just simply pop the head off just like so, just like that. Pop this on and it sits right over there, and then just pop the head back on just like so, and there you go. You have him with his Samag, or however you say that. I don't know how you say it, but that's how you have him. So if you want to have them like this, maybe a little bit more of an update for them, you can go for it. Next little piece is his beret, which looks really good. I like that we got a little bit of like a gold right there for the beret, and we're gonna pop that on his head just like that, and he looks great, man. I love it. Looks really, really good. I think they did a pretty good job with the eyes, the face sculpt as well. And I'm just going to pop this back off for a second, and we're going to take a look at the sculpt of the face. I think the face looks very good. Pretty pleased with it. He looks like a hard ass. Like he's not going to take any crap from anybody. I like this little addition that they did with the scar on the side of his head. It tells a little bit of a story that we can kind of build in our own imaginations, you know. Like, where'd he get that scar from? Who knows? Make it up. Your own imagination is the true guide to fun. But the beret fits on his head, and there's no falling off. I mean, it sits on there perfectly. It's just like Flint and even Beachhead. Beachhead's would stay on pretty decently. Next up, we've got the Knife or Kniff or Knife. But I don't know. I'm just not a big fan of the way that this knife looks. It looks too much like a butcher's knife than a actual tactical knife. But then again, I have seen some tactical knives that kind of look like this. But looks a little bit too flat-bladed to me on the sides. But it can fit right into the sheath on the side, and I almost have that backwards. You kind of want to put it this way. It has a way to put that in there. And there you go. That's the proper way to do it right there. So there's that. Next up, we'll go through his pistola. So we got a pistol, and we've got an extended magazine sculpted onto the pistol, which is really nice. Looks to me like this is almost like a, I don't know, like a Delta Elite right here, 45 with a extended mag. So that's pretty cool. And then we have his silencer right there that you just slide right into the hole. And there's another porthole so you can put effects on there. And just to show you, yes, they do fit. Let's just grab it right here. The Valiverse stuff does work with, oh wait, maybe it does. Oh yeah, no, it does. It does work with the classified stuff. So there you go. The peg does stick a little bit further out of the peg hole, but I mean, come on. I think it works fine. So there's that. But if you want to separate everything and you don't want to have him use a silencer, everything can store. You can just pop this into his storage unit, which is right on the side of his drop down, right there. And you can pop it in either way, whichever way you want to do it. And the pistol fits right into the holster as well. So very nicely done. Very well thought out. He can hold everything. I mean, really everything. You can actually even store his LMG on his holster on his backpack too. So next up and finally, like I said, we have the LMG right here. Looks really good. Very pleased with it. I like that the ammo is sculpted and painted on. That's very nice. They could have went the lazy route and not painted that, but they didn't. So I can dig that. The LMG, and I kind of have an issue with some of the weaponry that they've released in the past, is some of their weapons look flat. Like overly flat. I don't know. Especially like an LMG, I would kind of expect this to be a little bit bulkier in the railing here, in the Picatinny rail or whatever you want to call it. That kind of encases the barrel. I would expect this to actually be a little bit longer too. I know there are some shorter nosed LMGs like the M249 saw. There's also the Parasaw. They are shorter nosed, but for what this looks like, it looks like to be some sort of amalgamation of like a Stoner LMG. I would expect it to be just a hair longer, maybe out to here, but that's just me nitpicking. I really think this is still a nice design right here. And I think it's a decent little updated weapon. Gives you options as far as what you want to have him kind of posed with. So if you want to have him posed with the LMG, you can. He can single-hand it. I have seen people single-hand LMGs before, kind of like this pose and stuff like that. But if you want to have him two-hand it, you can have him two-hand it as well. He can still hold it decently. So there is that to say. Now, looking down the sights, as far as that's concerned, we got to kind of get the scarf out of the way there. or Shema, or whatever you want to call it. I'm sure there's a technical term, and I'm sure someone will correct me, as everybody always does. But there's always somebody in the comments that's well, actually, you know. But with the, I want to say this, with the Shema on, I'm going to take this off, and we'll just take a look and see how well he poses with that off, because that thing is just getting all up in the way. He looks good. I'm pretty pleased with this. Holding a little bit further outward, and I could probably squeeze him in and have him lean back and get the posture perfectly well, and have this knee bent a little bit. Maybe that one posed outward and get him into a little bit more of a natural pose. But I think, and have him look a little bit more down like that. But I think that's pretty decent as far as that goes. I don't have too much of an issue there. So, not bad. Not bad at all. So, I like this. I don't like this. This can go in the bin somewhere. Goodbye. Adios, muchacho. To the bin with you. So, I'm going to give him this for now until I find him something else that I like for him. Like I said, Stalker is very meaningful to me. He was one of the, I want to say, first G.I. Joes I had. I found him in a bargain bin. I want to say way back at a Golden Circle. I don't know if anybody even remembers that store. I know a lot of you guys are a lot younger nowadays, but Golden Circle was kind of like a off-brand Kmart, and it always had discounted items to it, especially like the bargain bins. I remember those big round bargain bins they always had for items and stuff like that. So I'm going to give him this for now. Like I said, this is from Gridiron Studios. They have a whole plethora of stuff. They actually have a really nice Stalker set if you want to go with a crossbow with him. But that's what I'm going to go with, and I'm going to have him store his LMG on his back. So that's pretty much what I'm going to go with. Now, the figure itself, as far as any issues I have a couple issues with this Stalker. Number one, he's a bit too green. There's not enough extra paint detail going on with this figure. I feel like there should be black with the soles of the shoe, or the boots, excuse me. It looks just, it's blending in with too much green. I mean, you've got his fingertips with his fingerless gloves, which I like. Don't get me wrong, it sets him apart from a lot of other people. They could have just given him normal knuckle dusters and called it a day, but they didn't. And then you have his head sculpt and his neck. That's really painted differently, and the little, I guess, insignia for his beret. But that's essentially it. Maybe you get a couple different variations in greens just because of the camo pattern, but that's about it. Everything else is like a green plastic, and it kind of gets caught up. I feel like even if they would have just done some extra details, small details that I'm probably going to have to go back and do, like the buckles. Just paint the buckles black. Why not? How about the laces? Make the laces black, the soles black, little extra buckles black. I feel like it pulls out so much more of the design when you just do little tweaks to some stuff that Hasbro just decided not to do. It's kind of like Beachhead. When they made Beachhead, you know, he's a really good looking figure until you get to his weaponry, and it's just the most god-awful weaponry ever because it's all molded in a green plastic. I just don't understand what's going on in their heads sometimes over at Hasbro. Doesn't make much sense as far as, I mean, and I get it. Like, someone's going to use the argument of, well, these are meant for kids and blah, blah, blah. Let's be honest here. How many kids, and I know a lot of kids because one lives with me, would prefer something that looks a little bit more realistic, like this, that comes with an action figure, as opposed to something that looks like a Nerf gun that's been molded in green plastic. I'm pretty sure that 9 times out of 10, the majority of kids are going to want this over that. I'm just saying. You can't blame it on kids. You can't blame this nonsensical decision making on kids, because I'm getting sick of that argument. It doesn't hold water regardless of whatever people want to tell themselves. But anyway, back to the figure here, because I'm not here to just dictate to you all day. As far as his articulation goes, and I'm going to go through it with the beret on. I think it makes more sense that way. The head can look back. It can look down about that far. A lot more hindered as far as having a hinge joint with the 2 double ball peg joint. So you got a ball peg up here and then a ball peg down there connecting the neck to the body and then the neck to the head. So you have that, but he can pivot side to side, no issue. He's got jive turkeys. So there's that. Arms go up, down, full 360 rotation in the arm. He does have that butterfly joint. It's a little bit more fluid on him than I want to say some of the other Joes. But then again, this side is kind of all frozen up. So I guess it's, oh no, now it's loosening up. So his butterfly joints are halfway decent. I want to say some of the other Joes are lackluster. The bicep swivel does swivel. It's right there. He does have a double jointed elbow. He has a swivel at the wrist. He has a lateral hinge joint. And then on this side, he has a vertical hinge joint, which gets in the way and is very hindered due to the sculpting of his cuffs. So that's unfortunate. You kind of lose some of the range of motion in the wrist there. And you can't really utilize a whole lot of that vertical hinge joint. The lateral one works just fine. He does have an ab crunch, which can crunch back. It can crunch forward due to the sculpting of his harness. It's just a little bit easier to maneuver and work with that ab crunch. He can pivot side to side. He can also swivel at the waist. You can crunch forward a little bit with the waist and back, so you get a little bit extra range of motion there with that. Drop down legs, and then you can do splits with that. So you can Van Damme it. He does have an upper thigh swivel, a double jointed knee. So there's that. Hair everywhere. Boot swivel, pointy toe, pointy heel, and ankle pivot, and 2 peg holes. So that's pretty much it for Stalker. The only other issue that I really had with him was that I had some loose joints. He's got loose ankles, not to the point where it's annoying me yet, like to the max where he's falling over constantly, but they're loose enough where I know where this story is headed. You know, it's headed down the, I gotta go fix the ankles now with either, you know, floor polish or something else. So that kind of annoys me a little bit. He is a little bit loose in the elbows as well and the hip joints. So this is why I don't like drop down hips, because over time these drop down hips are going to start getting looser and looser and wanting to just naturally drop down on their own. They still haven't quite perfected it yet, but I still think the figure looks great. He still does feel nice. Like I said, a couple different black paint apps throughout the uniform would have really helped him here, even the harness rig. But they just didn't do that. And maybe it kind of got lost in the shuffle due to the accessories he comes with. I don't know. I don't think he comes with an overabundance of accessories, but he does come with enough. I guess you could pound the table and make an argument for that if that's what you want to tell yourself. But personally, I think that they should have put a couple more paint details on here. You see how many paint details this Duke has, which is far, far more than he has. So, like, did the budget get cut? I don't understand. I don't know. But as far as what I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, let's see, 8, 9, 10 different, 11, and then the eyes, 12. 12 different paint, oh no, I'll say 11 different paint apps. No, 10, sorry, 10, because the blue is used, same blue is used for his eyes as is for the shin and knee guards. So 10 different paint apps on him, and he has what? 1, 2, 3, 4. That's about it. Here he is with, but here they both are, excuse me, with a Articulate Icons Ninja. There's an SH Figuarts Common Rider Black RX. Here they are with a Marvel Legends Shocker action figure. Here they are with a Motu Classics Vicor. Here they are with the Jazzwares Halo Reach June action figure. Here they are with a Motu New Eternia He-Man. And now we have them with a Star Wars Black Series Boba Fett. And now we're going old school with a NECA Street Fighter Ken Masters action figure. Next up, we've got a DC Multiverse McFarlane Three Jokers Red Hood. And last up, we've got a Valaverse Sergeant Slaughter from Action Force. Okay, so for my final thoughts on Stalker and the twins, Tomax and Xamot, there's certain things that I really do like about them. I don't like the loose joints on Stalker. That kind of annoys me. It's probably just my copy. It's probably not a normal thing with everybody, so I wouldn't get all bent out of shape or worried about it. It's probably just my bad luck. So, which I tend to have is bad luck. But that aside, the twins and Stalker, if I can improve one thing, would be adding more paint apps. Certain figures get more paint apps, and I showed you in this comparison with Duke. Certain figures in the past have gotten more paint apps than these figures that cost more. So these figures now costing more are getting less paint apps than the figures that cost $20 at the time. So it's kind of getting a little frustrating, I guess, with some of that. I feel like Tomax and Xamot, I could let their armor slide if they would have just added more paint apps or just some more paint detail to Stalker at least. I feel like that would have been much more helpful as far as, you know, a real deal huge selling point for the figure. And I feel like it really would have pulled out a lot of that detail that's kind of lost in the shuffle with his harness and his boots and even some of the BDUs that they're wearing and the sweaters or whatever, you know, their uniform that they're wearing. I feel like could really use a, like, I hate to say this, and I normally don't like washes, but a light wash would have kind of helped certain areas on him. Even just some black paint, like I said, around the buckles, around the shoelaces, the shoe soles, stuff like that, would have helped a lot. But that's neither here nor there. I still think that the three of them are well, yeah, I would still say that they're still a 2 thumbs up. I apologize for the painted fingers throughout the review, so it won't be a normal thing. Not a big fan of the submachine gun that Stalker came with. I get it's like the vintage look, but I mean, it's classified, so it's supposed to be a little bit updated, man. It just doesn't feel updated to me. So that's the one thing. I like the LMG. I like just the overall aesthetic. I think the twins look like the twins should, you know? There's nothing too crazy about them. They're, I would say, a must get for most, you know, 6-inch collectors if you're trying to get your rankings for Cobra. These guys are higher ranking guys, so you want to have them up there as far as that's concerned. Really excited to have the character of Stalker, but I feel like he could have been a better figure, just being honest there. Other than that, like I said, I think the real selling point of the three of them is the twins. I mean, let's just be honest here. It really is. But other than that, that's pretty much it for me. I'm not going to drone on. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Thank you for watching as always, and I'll see you guys on the flip side.